I tried to record this outside between the mountains, but it was super windy, so I'm doing the same vibe indoors. Would you board an airline that has vibe coded their flight software? What if it's 10 times cheaper than traditional airlines? Would you go from Amsterdam to New York for 100 euros if it means you have to put your trust in vibe coded software and vibe coded tests? I think this is an interesting question, and it's obviously not going to happen anytime soon, hopefully. But I'm bringing this up because the software we write as web developer and mobile developers is honestly not that complicated. I've been teaching it for around 10 years now, and I've seen how it's evolved. Every time there's a little bit of new technology, it is, of course, a little bit tough to learn it, but it's still really not so complicated. And LLMs have learned these patterns. They can do it better than maybe all of us or most of us. They have access to documentation, they can do things faster than we can do, but of course we're still steering them, and we are kind of responsible for their output. And they don't always work in all the scenarios. So I want to get to the point where if you're building something a little bit more advanced than what you see on Twitter, if you know how to code and you're building really something innovative, they are just not gonna get some of the tasks right, and maybe they will in the future. And this is not an issue with a prompt or missing skills.md file. I'm talking really like innovative software. They might not be able to do it because it's completely new. So AI will cause a big shift in our industry, but no one knows how just yet. And I want to discuss this in this video. It's also crazy that these LLMs work the way they do. If you haven't checked it already, check out this video from Karpati. I'm gonna link it below. It's around 3.5 hours, but it really explains how LLMs work at a relatively high level. So again, AI is making an amazing progress, and it's kind of crazy that these LLMs can do what they're doing right now. We might be moving on to more complicated scenarios, more complicated applications, like I said before, because the traditional SaaS or the traditional marketplace app are not really complicated, and it kind of makes sense that AI can do all of them. It can do even more. It can debug, it can do some creative work. It's pretty interesting, and it's really gonna create a big shift. However, even though AI is gonna revolutionize our industry and many other industries, I still think it's in a bubble, some kind of investment bubble. And you can see that in many ways. I'm not gonna cover that. There's like 20 million AI bubble videos on YouTube, but just look at the gold price, just look at how uncertain the economy is, or even sketchy, the word economy. So things cannot stay like this for so long. It might take a year, it might take 2 years, and this is kind of a transitionary period. And I want to talk about how this is affecting the job market. But just before that, please don't discount AI. Otherwise, unfortunately, you may fall behind. So if you open Twitter right now, you'll see it's all doom and gloom, and we have AGI, and next week we have ASI. And then you have the people who completely don't believe in AI. And it's not that I'm trying to take a middle stance here, but it doesn't have to be either of those extremes. So don't discount AI because it's really good. I don't really think we are gonna get anytime soon into an AI that develops itself. It could be limitation of LLMs. And yeah, we're really in a transitionary period. So let me talk about that with the job market. And what pushed me to make this video is Web Dev Simplified's new video. I think it was called something like, can you get a job as a web developer in 2026? And unfortunately, I think he's left out some important things related to the job market. The hiring market right now is not really normal. It's kind of in this weird position. It's partly due to AI, partly to the overhiring during COVID. It's partly due to the outsourcing, but also a very, very big chunk is from the economy. The economy is just really not normal at the moment. So all of these companies, instead of hiring, they're kind of most of these companies have hiring freezes, they're not hiring so much. And if they want to be cheap, they could have hired even more seniors and hired a bunch of juniors to use AI and to use these agents to develop features to save even more cost. But I don't think this is happening. So it's been a bit of a downward trend, maybe stabilizing, but people think it's just going to go all the way down to zero. At least that's what we hear on Twitter. But I think that we are just, again, in a transitionary period. The market will eventually adapt. This is highly dependent on the economy, the global economy, and then again on the progress that AI makes. And again, I told you we will probably move on into a higher position, make more complicated software, or I hope we get somewhere where we make better software, because it seems we're forgetting all about all the stuff we've been preaching for 10, 20 years, where we should make good quality software. I hope this is not disappearing. So I'm not seeing a lot of foundation with testing, with semantics, with accessibility. This is all just like, make me an app, and then we don't really focus on a lot of these things. So one more time, the market is unstable, and that really sucks if you're looking for a job or if you're graduating right now, but eventually it will adapt. We don't know what it will adapt to, but eventually companies will go back to hiring, most likely. I think it's my prediction. And there might even be an explosion of jobs, because imagine the moment the progress stops being exponential or the economy gets better, we are going to hire a lot to, not just to clean up, after the AI, because that's something we can do with AI tools. We are going to move into this post-AI with AI world, where we're going to have to do, unfortunately, a lot more work. So this whole thing when people said, yeah, AI will do all work and we will go on vacation, that just never happens. So I think you should kind of take some bets right now. Think about it, what makes sense for you, take some bets, work on them, and hopefully one of these bets would be closely aligned to what ends up happening. And then it's really important to be able to shift and adapt, because things are moving very quickly and you want to be able to adapt. So if you go back 2 years ago, there was all this craze about prompt engineering, and you would spend quite some time with prompt engineering, maybe fine-tuning and other things to get slightly better responses from the model. And if you missed that boat, it's kind of okay, because the models got so much better to the point that almost any prompt you write can get you an answer, and you can just spend a little bit of time to improve it. This is not prompt engineering. It does not deserve the word engineering next to it. And I want to close with one more thing. This reminds me that in technology, in programming, there's always these kind of wormholes that we have at several stages, where if you enter the market or the coding market in these wormholes, you can kind of really skip many years. It happened to me when I was getting into the market. I was relatively very young. And there were these people that had 10 years more experience than me, or 15 years more experience, and they knew what they were doing, and I didn't know what I was doing. But I entered the market at the time when JavaScript became very popular, and you can suddenly do all these things in JavaScript, whereas all the other experienced developers were doing them with, let's say, other languages, or it was just like not possible with JavaScript. And this kind of allowed me to skip many years, and in just 3, 4, 5 years, you kind of, I don't want to compare it. It's not like we were at the same level. We weren't, but I could do the things that I wanted to do that back then would have taken maybe 10 years instead of 5 years. And we are now again at this point. You can learn so much from AI, but of course it's demotivating if you cannot find a job afterwards. But you can now know so much. And honestly, I'm now feeling a little bit old that suddenly everyone can know what I've spent all my career knowing. But I'm not really worried, because eventually, I told you, it's gonna stabilize, and I'm gonna have to adapt, you're gonna have to adapt, and we're gonna move forward. It's just now too transitionary, like I've said 10 times. So this is kind of another wormhole time, and you can learn a lot, you can do a lot. I still think foundations are important, but obviously I'm super biased saying that because I work in education. It's been quite a long time. But I still think foundations are important. So if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the mountains and snow, I also have another channel where I do a lot of snowboarding in Austria and cycling on the dams of the Netherlands. So follow me on one of them or both, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.